Uh, was the crazy thing about it is that I'd always believed in God, but I just never really knew who He was, and it was just phenomenal how He could turn a mess into a message. I didn't grow up the ideal way. There was no Disneyland trips or trips out of state or anything like that. It was all in state to family, and had a mom that wasn't exactly the best mom growing up. And I only say that because I can say now that she's the best mom in the world. And she was addicted to drugs, addicted to meth, had an abusive boyfriend, and I just happened to have to continue living with her. In the 5th grade, I was still going to Liberty Hill in Texas, obviously, and my dad said, "Hey, you want to come live over here and burn it?" And so we came over there to live with him, and I continued going to Liberty Hill because I had a stepmom that worked with the Liberty Hill School District, and she soon quit after that and got a different job in Burnett. So I came over here, and one of the first people, actually the first guy to say anything to me was Mr. Caleb Christensen inside of the 7th grade locker room at the R.J. Ritchie. He asked me what my name was before football practice, and I told him, and we immediately kind of bonded and became friends after that. Mr. Ryan Arbo was there as well, and it would be later on in life. I did the FCA stuff in high school and all that, and I went there a lot because that's where all the pretty girls went, and it was easy to get sucked into it like that. And I got to be captain of the basketball team, and I was the homecoming king, and just everything was perfect in a sense. And I didn't really know what being perfect was about. I didn't know about this perfect guy named Jesus that came down and died for me. And so I got a full ride scholarship to Ranger Junior College and thought I had it made. I was the man, and I couldn't wait to prove everybody wrong that said that the 6-foot white kid could never play college basketball, especially the kid from Burnett, where only football players come from. And I went out to Ranger, ended up getting redshirted, and immediately left, and just decided that it was the party life for me, and that's just how I was going to define myself. It was just, where can I get my next high? Where can I get my next party? What can I do that's going to help me to forget about everything I've done today? And it was just kind of like a confusing time more than anything, just because I had no identity. I didn't know who I was. I just knew that I was this guy that was jumping around to these random junior colleges trying to finish out what I had started, and it said at one point wanted to be a coach, and I would actually be on a back road with a buddy going from my house to his house, and we had decided, hey, we're going to go smoke this marijuana on this back road. And we saw 2 people, and those 2 people were walking in the middle of the night, and my buddy stopped and said, hey, we should pick them up. And I thought, no way in heck we should pick them up, because that will never be us. And he said, but that could be us. There's even 2 of them just like me and you. And I said, but I have a car. How in the world would I'm Zakk Revelle. I'm the captain. I am the homecoming king. I'm never going to be walking down a back road by myself or with another friend. And we ended up picking them up. And then, we asked them, where are you from? And they gave us the whole, we're from Austin spiel, which, have never talked to these people since this car ride. So don't know where they were exactly from, but could tell they were a little bit younger than us, not very much though. And about 10 minutes down the road, they decided to pull out Dirty Harry in their 45 and ask for all of our money. And I had $10. And at that point, it wasn't even about being scared. There was just no feelings whatsoever. I didn't know how to feel, really. I didn't know. I'm not scared of these people because I'm bigger than them, but they have this one thing that can take me down, and they have it, and it's in their power, and all they want is $10. So should I just give it to them? I guess I should just give it to them. And it was more of a guilt trip, if anything, because all I could think about was my family at that point and how they would think in this situation. And 3 days after that happened, I actually went home that night and never called the police. My buddy went to the police that was with me, but I didn't want to be a part of it. I just simply told him I just want to go home. So I went home. 3 days later, my grandma calls me, and I'm thinking, of course, grandma's calling you. This is probably something bad happened 3 days before. She's probably calling to say something about that or ask you about it. And it actually wasn't a phone call to ask me what had happened. It was a phone call to ask me what I was doing on Sunday morning, which she was going to be going to church at Hill Country Fellowship in Burnett. And I thought, you know what, Grandma, that is the best idea you maybe have ever had. I can't think of a better idea than to go there right now. And so go to church, and after I had been to church and, started going with her on the regular everything kind of started to fall into place. I realized that, I think I'm supposed to play basketball again, so I get this revelation that I'm supposed to continue this basketball dream, and so I start calling around schools, and nothing really is, not too many bites, but I'm just working out at this point, just trying to get a little bit bigger, stronger, faster for the upcoming season. And December 14th, I was actually at Faith Academy in Marble Falls with Mr. John Berkman and his dad, Larry Berkman. I worked for Larry at the Coach Wash in Marble Falls, and John was the head basketball coach at Faith Academy and for the boys. And he said, if you want to come over here and just get into a practice, you can go ahead and do that. So I did. And now I've never had my phone at a practice because what would I need a cell phone for at basketball practice? But I had one there, and something told me, just go check it. So I did. And I had a text message from a girl that said, did you hear about Caleb? And now, mind you, like I said, everything was going cool. Everything, I'd been robbed. I thought that was my sign. Okay, I go to church now, so everything's cool, right? If I die today, I've been going to church. I'm supposed to go to heaven, right? That's how you go to heaven, is because you go to church. And then I just put the phone down and walked away. I'd walk back over there about 5 minutes later, and I had another message from a different girl, and it said, please tell me it's not true. And it was in that moment I realized that he was gone. And this is the kid that had been cutting my hair since I was 16 years old. Since I was old enough to have a license to drive over to his house for him to cut it, he'd been cutting my hair before prom. Anytime, he always had me looking fresh to death, as he would say. And I'd be always looking good, and we had kept, been close. He was my number one fan in high school. He played basketball up until his junior year, and then he decided he didn't want to play anymore, but he continued to go to the games and scream his head off, and he'd always, tell people I was his boy, and he was my number one fan. And it hit me pretty hard, because immediately the questions, why, God? Why would you take this person, this beautiful person, this person that's just so, he's just such a loving, caring guy, and, why? Why'd you have to take him? And I quickly found out that he had taken a life from me here on this earth, which we only get temporarily, to go ahead and gain me another life, which was my life with Christ. And I decided a month later that I needed help. There was nothing else I could do. I needed Christ, and I was actually with my pastor, Mr. Rodney McGee, at Hill Country Fellowship, and he'd been asking me to come hang out with him, and I finally went and hung out with him. And just after talking for about 20 minutes, just talking Jesus and talking God and what he had been doing and everything that had been going on, I slowly realized that he's the only thing that I needed. I'd been trying to get an identity with basketball. I tried to get an identity with girls. I tried to get an identity with alcohol, drugs. I tried to find an identity everywhere, but with the only identity that can save you. And I accepted Christ on January the 12th of 2012, and then I was baptized a month later on February 12th, 2012. And then actually a little bit later into that summer, found out that I was going to get to go attend Sul Ross State University, where I would get to play basketball, where I'm the current point guard and captain of the team. And now also I'm president of FCA out there. And God is just moving in my life just absolutely tremendously. And it's crazy. I always talk a lot about sports, and so to me it's simple to tie sports back to God. And I've just been able to grow so fast and grow so much in Him, I feel like so quick, because it's all about how much you put into it. If you want to be a good basketball player, a good soccer player, football player, softball, baseball, tennis, golf, anything you want to do, even if it's you wanting to just be a good lawyer, we don't even got to talk sports. You got to put in time to get that. If you want to be a good student, you got to study all the time to make good grades. If you want to be a good Christ follower, you got to be in His Word, and you got to try and be about Him all the time to just know Him more. I was talking to a buddy earlier about Christ, and I said, if there any competitive bone in your body, the idea of trying to live up to the perfect person. You know, everybody tries to be perfect. Speaking of your identity is told that you're perfect with your clothes, you're perfect with your face and the stuff you put on it and the earrings you put on and the snapbacks you put on and the jerseys that you put on. You're identified with all that. And you're somehow perfect in that sense, or to them. And when I say them, I say these earthly people that are only thinking earthly things, when in reality the ultimate competition to me is chasing after Christ every single day. There shouldn't be any more fulfilling than getting that, because he took something that I had to give away $10 for and turned it into an eternity with him. And that's really all I could have ever asked for.